Hey, what's up you wonderful INFPs and such watching this video and all the INFJs in between. Yeah, it kind of struck me how it's weird that I'm only doing this sort of directly after job interviews. Like, so many of these vlogs only coming right after job interviews. So I'm just done with another job interview, as you can tell by the coat and tie. But given that dressed a bit more posh today, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different, not so much focused on FI users this week, but I wanted to talk about power couples and and basically pairings for ENFJs I believe will make very good couples, but not in a sense where it's like INFP and ENFJ. Like, that's a very good couple, but what I'm focusing on is power couples, which means that these are individuals that when you put them two together, they sort of contribute more to the outside world, or their relationship sort of brings them out and makes them very accomplished people. So like an example I would say is someone like imagine a marriage between Helen Mirren and Anthony Hopkins. Like, these are two powerful people in this powerful industry, and they can be this unstoppable Hollywood duo, like that kind of thing. Or like, imagine if maybe, let's say, what's his face again? Richard Branson and Warren Buffett. Let's say it's not Warren Buffett, let's say it's Michelle Buffett or something like that. They were to get together and form this unstoppable coalition and stuff like that. So that's basically what I want to focus on, a power couple. But there are certain disadvantages to a power couple relationship as well, and that being that when you look at a power couple relationship, I think that their first two functions are extroverted, and so we're probably looking like extroverted feeling or extroverted thinking. These are like their primary functions. But at the same time, they do not have that whole bubble effect where INFPs have with ENFJs. Yes, and a relationship with, let's say, between a power couple relationship might be good, but it might not have that whole perfect, it's so wonderful, and so it completes each other in this INFP ENFJ way. And the types I'm going to elaborate more about this as I talk about the different types. But there's two types that come to mind when I think about ENFJs and power couples. And the first type that I think that we will make very good, or we will make this power couple kind of relationship together, is ESFJs. A pairing between an ESFJ and an ENFJ, for a lot of people who have this bias that only intuitives are awesome, might be scary, but think about it, they can accomplish so much together. It's insane. And like, because the ESFJs are people, or sensors on the other hand, I feel like people, they are doers. They're people that they just don't dwell on ideas, they are executors. And ENFJs, like, sometimes we are executors as well, but the thing is, sometimes we get too caught up in the whole conceptualization and thinking about ideas phase in whatever projects we encounter or we are doing, but we're not focused on like actually pulling it out. Like, you can talk to an ENFJ will probably come up with all sorts of ideas that he could do this or he could do that. If they started this advertising company, they could hire this person, they could hire that person, and they could alliance with this client and get this graphic designer to do this. But the ESFJ would be the person that's running around and actually getting shit done. Like, that's the thing. It's sort of like Pepper Potts. Like, the ESFJ is like Pepper Potts. Like, Iron Man is rich, probably partly also because of Pepper Potts that keeps keeping his company afloat. So an ENFJ with an ESFJ, to me, reminds me of that kind of conundrum, or that kind of relationship, whereby they are both focused on like going out there and doing like important things and like accomplishing things together. But there is the pitfall as well. As I said, not all relationships are perfect. INFP and ENFJ relationships are perfect, and very similarly is ESFJ and ENFJ relationships. Like, I feel like the one reason why they will make a good power couple would also be the one reason why they would fail. Like, if you look at a power couple relationship, I do not think that a power couple is like an ESFJ that's unemployed and an ENFJ that's unemployed. I think they both kill each other. But if they both have this core purpose or goal to focus on, they could do all sorts of things. So an ESFJ, as I say, would be the executor, ENFJ would be the planner, and But the pitfall in the relationship is when let's say the project is done, when there is a buffer time in between, they might sometimes have to get together and like sort of share experiences and talk and and sort of bond, and there might be a lot of impasses because of that. And another thing is also this: I feel like as an ENFJ or as an intuitive person in general, sometimes we are very open to doing questionable things. We are okay with things that might seem like it's a bit cold and calculated, but it's better in the greater good. And sometimes these unconventional means might bother the ESFJ, so they might do everything that we ask them to do in the beginning. They might even, kill innocent people if we ask them to do it in the beginning. But right after that, when we have to justify ourselves, that's when the cracks start showing. So that's where I would feel that maybe there is that impasse between an ESFJ and an ENFJ. Yes, the ESFJ will do, they will execute it perfectly, but when they want a good justification, on the other hand, we might not be able to satisfy them. We might have a good justification, but sometimes when you deal with things like introverted sensing, not everything that you say actually flies. So yeah, that's something to consider. The next type that I think that an ENFJ will make an excellent power couple with, and I bet a lot of you guys will be scared of this, the idea of this relationship ever happening to you if you are an ENFJ, is an ENFJ's relationship with an ENTJ. Yes, I just said that. One thing I really like about ENTJs is that I think that in a certain sense they are like the perfect rivals for ENFJs. It's like they are the inverse of us in the right ways that make them very capable as well. It's like, think about why an ENFJ would be a successful person. An ENTJ would be a successful person for all the other reasons that an ENFJ would be doing well. So sort of like they have this conflicting relationship, they have this conflicting means of doing things, but at the same time they're both very effective people as well. I feel like in this sense it would be if let's say in a relationship where you put an ENTJ and an ENFJ together, I feel like the ENTJ would be leading most of the time and the ENFJ would be picking up the pieces like the execution phase. It's more like the ENFJ is now the ESFJ and the ENTJ is now the ENFJ in the previous relationship. We'll be picking up their laundry, but at the same time the laundry we pick up, is it worth it? I believe so, it is worth it. Like, okay, a way of looking at it is an ENTJ and an ENTJ and an ENFJ relationship is like, as I said again, rivals. So for those people I'm sorry if I'm using a football example, and not all Americans watch football, and the reason I'm saying Americans is because a lot of you guys who are interested in MBTI are actually Americans. So this example might not fly with you guys, but a lot of you guys would have heard of these two football teams, Barcelona and Real Madrid. These are clubs that are always against each other. They are big rivals and they're going against, like, they're neck and neck with one another. Sorry, yeah. However, if you were to combine both their resources together, that is what I would see as a relationship within an ENTJ and an ENFJ. Imagine a tag team of players that consists of both solely only Barcelona and Real Madrid players. Or imagine a combination between Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That is what I see as the power couple relationship between an ENFJ and an ENTJ. However, going back to it, there are pitfalls as well. The reason I mention power couples is because they have the most capacity to create great companies, great organizations, great friendship, great cliques, and all this kind of stuff. But one-on-one, can they form as meaningful relationships as ENFJ with an INFP? I question that a little bit. Like, the reason I said this is I think that ENFJ can accomplish a lot with an ENTJ, but at the end of the day, when they're both together and they're sleeping and they're supposed to bond and talk about the things they love and one another, I do not think that an ENTJ can provide an ENFJ with that kind of emotional support. And likewise, on the flip side as well, I think that sometimes when an ENTJ is in a conundrum where he's trying to think of something like a grand scheme of plan, a grand master plan, and he needs someone to maybe help look out for all the loopholes or to sort of help debate with him the idea and be very logical and cold about it. This might not be the strongest thing that an ENFJ can offer back to the ENTJ. So those are things that I might look out for. But as I said, if you want to be successful, you want to be a millionaire before you're even 18 and you're maybe 16 right now, and if you're an ENFJ, get in a relationship with an ESFJ or an ENTJ. I believe they can take you far. Whether or not you guys can bond very well in the bedroom, I question it. But as of accomplishing big things in society, I believe it is very possible with these two types. So basically, those are my thoughts on power couple relationships. And yeah, because you guys seem to be, I know, I just out of noticing it, you guys seem to be liking the whole MBTI thing I'm posting. Well, maybe it's a niche issue which you guys are more interested in covering because there's not a lot of people talking about it, and I'm glad to share my thoughts with some of you guys as well. So no worries about it. But I would like to hear maybe from the comments any other topics that you guys want me to talk about. I can talk about anything NF specific, especially the INFPs, ENFPs. The next video I'll probably do is about ENFPs because I realize I've been giving so much attention to the INFPs, but oh my god, do I love ENFPs. I think they could be, as I said, between INFPs and ENFPs, they're both like my favorite types. So next video could be about them. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Like and sub if you like this kind of content, and I'll see you guys at my next job interview or whenever someone suggests an interesting topic. But as of then, ciao ciao, bye. Sorry for the shaky camera, by the way.